Hello, my name is Ahmad Shibli this is from my Business Society and Government class for my movie 3 assignment reflection. I chose the movie The Big Short, the movie we watched in class. So we were told to answer the questions on the video. So here are the questions. Reflect back to the lessons on the semester and apply 3 concept chapters to relate or apply to this movie. Example, the CSR, crisis management, workplace safety, ethics, etc. So reflect on the back on the semester. Okay, so we'll take the examples that were stated. So the CSR, the corporate social responsibility. So of course there was the housing market failure of 2008, which led many people to be in economic turmoil. Shows us in this movie all of those what was happening. How people were able to predict before these things happened. They were able to predict that these things would happen because of the loans, right? It shows us the crisis management of these banks and these financial institutions and the people behind the scenes who were making millions and millions of dollars selling these fake loans. These banks making money, giving out these fake mortgages, these mortgages that were built to fail, and the crisis management of how they were able to handle such crisis and the failure to handle such crisis, right? The corporate social responsibility of these banks and these finance institutions to make sure that people weren't going to get affected from something that they created, right? People weren't going to get hurt from something that they created, right? How it shows the failure and the corporate social responsibility. And it also talks about, of course, this movie shows us the ethics that goes down when it comes down to finance. It comes down to the ethics and the moral standpoints of these banks and these people who have ultimate power and ultimate control of how much things are and how things are run. And it shows their ethical responsibility if they have, that they should at least make sure that people don't get affected. So it becomes an ethical issue when you have 1% of society benefiting from 99% of society's struggles, right? And how people were affected, people lost homes, people filed for bankruptcy, people lost a lot of money because of this crisis, and these banks were profiting all from our failures, right? And as we were told in class, that the government ends up bailing these banks out, right? The government bails these banks out, and the society suffers as a result, right? The society has to suffer and this is the responsibility of the banks and how these finance institutions, etc., who were running a scam, almost a fraud to society. So analyze this movie from the perspective of business, society, and government. The movie was a good movie. You had to have a little bit of understanding about the topic before, and of course, the movie itself shows us that business, society, and government are all interdependent, right? All interconnected, interdependent on one another. What do I mean by that? It shows that the business, society, and government are not separate entities, but rather interdependent, meaning their actions and decisions significantly affect one another, right? So one makes a mistake, and it's a domino effect, right? If society as a whole, doesn't want something to happen, these things won't happen, right? And if these businesses, these banks, these governments are not smart enough, things like this could happen more often, and society would crumble, right? Economically and in other factors. Because, of course, if economically we're failing, we'll be failing in other sectors of society. And then question 3 is what BSG model was on display? I think it was the dominance model, also the stakeholder model. The stakeholder model, because these finance institutions and these banks are putting the stakeholders as more important than society. They want to make sure that the stakeholders of the company, of the banks, of the finance institutions are benefiting first and foremost before the society gets benefit, right? And then the dominance model shows that these banks and these governments have ultimate control over how much things are, especially in the mortgage in the bank situation, right? How much things cost, how much things are. They're in ultimate control, and the society has to accept what the government puts down for them, and businesses have to accept. Businesses' ultimate goal is to make money, right? So it shows dominance and power, right? The stakeholder model, the countervailing forces model, right? Because business, society, and government as a society, this model emphasizes the power dynamics between business, society, and government as a balancing act, with each entity exerting influence to protect its own interest, right? Shows the dominance model, shows the countervailing forces model, shows the market capitalism model, stakeholder model, the dominance model. It shows that people are in it for themselves first and foremost, right? But that selfishness to grow, that selfishness for economic greed ends up in the failure of a society as whole in the long run, right? As what happened in 2008 housing crisis. And then we've got what types of powers were on display. We talked about that, right? We talked about the powers that were on display, right? The different types of, models, the powers, the perspectives at play, and it shows that it makes us aware, and it's a lesson for us as people, as a society, as a government, and as a business, to make sure that these events never happen again. They don't happen, and that 1% isn't benefiting from 99% of society, and that if we're not smart enough and we don't work together, we will fail as a society. We'll fail as a whole. And this is my assignment 3 for business, society, and government. Dr. Paletta, thank you so much.